Let's pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this public. Let your blessings send upon us here assembled. Grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county and of those whose interests you committed to our charge. Amen. Kindly take us through the order of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. Order paper number 296 of Tuesday 13, May 2025 at 2:30 p.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have the following communications to make. And the first one regards Honorable member, just proceed and take your seat. Honorable, I thought you could take any seat, but you must sit on your seat. I want to make the following communications. Number one regards the issue of budget. As the leader of majority will be presenting the schedule for coming week, you will realize that we have scheduled as the House Business Committee some days for sectoral consideration of the budget. As per the previous resolutions of this House, especially the Budget Committee, I'm reminded to communicate to the different sectoral committees that the formula in which the next budget shall be done shall be based on first charge. First charge for all the pending activities the previous year, in that case 2024, 2025. So it means that you must consider that all the pending activities for 2024, 2025 becomes the first charge in the 2025-2026 budget year. So if you belong to any certain committee, ensure that that is the case. Number two, I want to make communication in the matter of secondment of motions. Honorable members, I rise to make a considered ruling on the procedural issue that arose during the sitting of County Assembly on Wednesday, 7th May 2025 at 2:30 p.m. regarding the secondment of a motion to adopt the report of the Committee on Public Investment and Accounts, PICPAC. The issues specifically concerned the eligibility and procedural propriety of seconding a motion by Honorable James Omolo, a member of the committee who had not signed the adoption schedule. And conversely, the permissibility of Honorable Tom Nyaoke, an unmember, seconding such a motion. Number one, I want to talk about the purpose and legal basis for seconding a motion. Honorable members, Standing Order number 55-1 provides in equivocal terms that, I quote, the question on any motion shall not be proposed unless it shall have been seconded, and any motion that is not seconded shall be deemed to have been withdrawn and shall not be moved again the same session. I repeat, allow the honorable members first to come in. You can take the nearest seat so that we proceed. Thank you. I repeat what I've said, that the purpose and legal basis for seconding a motion. I'm repeating what I'd said. That honorable member standing on number 55-1 provides that, and I want to quote, the question on any motion shall not be proposed unless it shall have been seconded, and any motion that is not seconded shall be deemed to have been withdrawn and shall not moved again in the same session. I hope I'm clear up to there. And by now, I know every member understands the difference of proposing a question and putting a question. So the standing order provides that if it's not second, if there's no seconder of the same, that same motion will die and cannot be moved again in the session, but in the next session. I proceed. This procedural requirement is further enforced by the Parliamentary Convention and Customs and is further elaborately discussed in the Commentary on County Assembly Procedures, authored by one of our own, Mr. Haman Yoga, which underscores that the effect of requiring a second to a motion is to affirm that no business shall be presented for consideration in this honorable house unless it is supported by at least 2 members, one to move, one to second. Secondment is therefore not a mere formality. It serves the democratic purpose of confirming that the motion before this honorable house warrants debate and is not frivolous. It ensures that the assembly's time is devoted only to the matter of shared interest or concern. Now, the question we may ask ourselves is that who may second a motion and when? Standing Order number 92 clarifies that upon, quoting, upon a motion other than a motion by way of amendment, a member may second by rising in his or her place and signifying acquiescence by bowing the head without speaking, and such member shall thereby reserve the same rights of speech as the member would have had if some other member had seconded such motion. In other words, you have seen, the honorable members, that you can second by just bowing. When you do that, it means you reserve your time, just like any other member would have seconded, and you spend your time to speak. I proceed. From the provision of Standing Order number 92, it is clear that any member of the Assembly, and not necessarily a member of the committee tabling a report, may second a motion, provided that the motion is seconded at the time of its formal introduction before debate is opened. Our standing orders are now, as at now, does not restrict the right to second a motion only to a committee member, and we are yet to expressly adopt a contrary procedure. However, in spite of the reading of our standing orders, it is in our custom and practice that a member of a committee who has not signed the adoption of the committee report has consequently impeached his right to second said motion. Hope I'm clear up to that it is not in any of our standing orders that a member who have not signed a report cannot second. But by practice and traditions and what we have been doing is that a member who has not signed a report. It's like has impeached himself from the report and cannot therefore second by tradition and by practice. And remember, assembly proceedings are as per the standing order, traditions, practice, and precedents. Number 3, secondment of committee reports and the question of signing the adoption schedule. I want you to listen that, honorable members, while standing order number 184 and related provisions require that a committee report be signed by the chairperson or delegated member and be adopted by majority of the committee before tabling, it is not a condition precedent in the standing orders that the seconder of a motion to adopt the report must be a signatory to the adoption schedule. Indeed, once a committee report is tabled and a motion to adopt it is moved in plenary, it becomes a substantive matter of the House as a whole. Therefore, any member of the Assembly may second the motion, regardless of whether they served on the committee or participated in the report's adoption. I want now to give the application and final determination. Accordingly, based on our current standing orders and based on our customs and practice, I find that it was procedurally proper to disqualify Honorable James Omolo from seconding the motion merely because he had not signed the adoption schedule of the PICPAC committee, even though he was a member of the committee. Equally, I find that there was no procedural error in allowing Honorable Tom Nyaoke, who was not a member of the committee, to second the motion. In view of the foregoing, I rule as follows. Number 1, that the requirement for the secondment under standing order number 55-1 applies to all substantive and subsidiary motions, including those for adoption of committee reports. Number 2, that any member of the County Assembly, except the member of the committee who has not signed the adoption of the motion, may second a motion unless the motion subject matter imposes specific restrictions. Number 3, that membership in the committee tabling the report is not a prerequisite to second a motion for its adoption. And number 4, that in accordance with our standing order, the act of seconding does not require that the member must have signed the committee report adoption schedule. I therefore direct that in future, secondment of motion shall be guided strictly by these principles and by the standing orders. Any deviations may amount to procedural unfairness and undermine the integrity of the debate. And so I rule. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Just a minute, the clerk. I have noticed that there are papers to be paid. We will go back to the order on papers, order number 5. Honorable Boyton. I have seen that there's a paper that is supposed to play. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Orders number 182-6 of the Standing Orders, I wish to table today Tuesday, 13th May 2025, report of Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development Committee on the proposed sublease of land to Med Editas for establishing pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in Kisumu and support for its conversion to special economic zone. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, the Sectoral Committee on Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development Committee report on the proposed sub-lease of land to Med Editors for establishing a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in Kisumu and support for its conversion to special economic zone is properly laid before the House, and I direct that the House Business Committee considers scheduling this report for debate. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Yes, sir, Honorable Boyton.
Thank you once again, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I arise to give notice that pursuant to the provision of orders number 45-1 of the standing orders, this House adopts the report of Lands, Physical Planning, Housing and Urban Development Committee on the proposed sublease of land to Med Editors for establishing a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in Kisumu and support for its conversion to a special economic zone. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Is statement time? The Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to inform the House that I am unable to give the statements of the schedules of programs for the coming week due to some unavoidable circumstances from the office of the clerk. But I want to say that the statement will be posted in our official wall before the end of the day. And I want to apologize for any inconveniences caused. Thank you.
Next order.
Commencement of business. Order number 8, adoption of the report of PICPAC Committee, the examination of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kisumu County Emergency Fund by financial year 2023-2024 by Honorable Kennedy Uko.
I have a letter here from Honorable Kennedy Uko delegating the motion to be moved by Honorable Were on behalf of the committee. Honorable Were.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion on the report on the examination of the Auditor General on the financial statement of emergency fund for the financial year ended 30th June 2024. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of Public Accounts and Investment Committee, PICPAC, the pursuant to the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders number 188, I am honored to present to this House the report on examination of the report of Auditor General on the financial statements of Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the financial year 2023-2024. Mr. Speaker, the County Assembly exercises oversight over county government entities and their expenditure pursuant to the Article 18, Article 185, Subsection 3 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 through the Public Accounts and Investment Committee. Mr. Speaker, Article 229/8 further mandates the County Assembly to debate and consider the Auditor General's reports and take appropriate action within 3 months of receipt. In fulfillment of the constitutional responsibility, the committee held 2 sittings to examine the Auditor General's report and receive oral and written submissions from the accounting officers, including a meeting with the accounting officer and the Office of Auditor General. Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General issued an adverse opinion on the financial statement of Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. This opinion was based on the significant audit findings, which included unsupported trade and other payables, misclassification of transactions, irregular emergency expenditures without appropriate approvals, over expenditure beyond the approved budget without justification, and unresolved prior year issues. The Auditor General concluded that these issues constituted material misstatements, and the financial statements therefore did not present a true and fair financial position of the fund. Mr. Speaker, from this interrogation of the report and management responses, meeting with the accounting officer and the Office of the Auditor General, the committee made several key observations. First, it was established that the trade and other payables amounting to 11,802,272 were not supported by essential procurement documents such as invoices, local purchase orders, signed contracts, and inspection and acceptance certificates. Second, Mr. Speaker, the financial statements showed an amount of Kenya shillings 12,309,171 as payment on behalf of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital, which the management later clarified to be receipts rather than expenditure, indicating a misstatement in narration. Third, the committee noted that the emergency expenditures amounting to Kenya shillings 105 million were incurred without requisite supporting documents, including approved emergency response plan, procurement plan, needs assessment by the technical committee, and approval by the County Assembly as stipulated under Kisumu County Emergency Fund 2018. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, the fund recorded an over expenditure of 20,206,946, which is equivalent to 19.2% above the approved budget, without any evidence of lawful authorization. Lastly, the committee found that several audit issues raised in the prior financial year remain unresolved as of 30th June 2024, showing poor implementation of previous audit recommendations. Mr. Speaker, in light of these findings, Madam Speaker, in light of these findings, the committee has recommended that the County Executive Committee member for Finance, Economic Planning and ICT ensures strict adherence to the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and the Kisumu County Emergency Fund Act 2018. Disciplinary actions will be taken against public officers who authorizes or facilitated unlawful expenditure or fail to provide required documentation during the time of audit. Madam Speaker, the committee further recommends that future budget allocations to emergency fund be withheld until sufficient internal controls and compliance measures are put in place. The Office of the Auditor General should also verify the authenticity of pending transactions in future audits, and the accounting officers should expedite the implementation of all prior year resolutions and recommendations to improve accountability. Madam Speaker, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to members of the committee for their diligence and commitment in executing their mandate. I also acknowledge the support received from the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk and the Committee Secretariat and the technical guidance provided by the Office of the Auditor General during committee meetings with the accounting officers. Their collective efforts made production of this report possible. And Madam Speaker, I now present this House the report of Public Accounts and Investment Committee, of the Auditor General's report on the financial statement of Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the financial year ended 30th June 2024, and urge this House to adopt it. And Madam Speaker, I would therefore request Honorable Rakwach to second. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Rakwach.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance to second this PICPAC report, Honorable Chair, on emergency fund. Honorable Chair, I wish to say that the fund administrator and all those officers who handle this fund, they should know that this is public money. It is not personal money. So they have to follow the PFM Act while they are utilizing it. There are procurement rules which are put, and there is need that they be followed. Where there is need for LPO, that one should be provided. All the documents that are required, they should be there. Note that when the auditor asks for the documentations, then you get that maybe only the invoice is there. And these are the documents which are required by the law are not being availed. And then also, it is also embarrassing at this time. Devolution started in 2013. Now we are in 2025. 12 years down the line, we are still getting adverse opinion in Kisumu County. Then, Honorable Chair, what we also witness is that sometimes this is an emergency fund, and it should only be used on emergency projects. But sometimes you realize, in cases where there are documents, you realize that a project, an emergency project is initiated. Then it is implemented maybe 1 or 2 months later. That one now, that timeline does not qualify that project to be an emergency. Emergency project is that project which needs immediate response, Honorable Chair. So these are things that the fund administrators plus all the officers who are involved must take into account, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I also wish to encourage the Committee on Implementation to be following up on these recommendations that are always being suggested by the PICPAC Committee, Honorable Chair. Because several reports have been passed here, but we are yet to see an action being taken against these officers. Honorable Chair, there is also a recommendation here, Honorable Chair, that the Finance Economic Planning CEC should take a disciplinary action against the fund administrator, the accounting officer, and who authorized or facilitated the over expenditure. Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, the entities is not supposed to spend more than it was budgeted for. Now we are crying that there is spending bill amounting to billions of shillings, Honorable Chair. If this money was not budgeted and it has been spent on emergency fund, then it means that there is another budget which is going to be killed somewhere, which is not going to be paid. And this is what is making the pending bill to continue to grow, Honorable Chair. And I think this one bypassed us, because you realize that this CEC member for finance is the one who authorizes the utilization of the emergency fund, Honorable Chair. So how will he take action against himself? So I think we really need to revise that recommendation so that it be a recommendation which can really be implemented. Otherwise, I second. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, now that a motion on adoption of the report of PIPA Committee on the examination of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the financial year 2023-2024 has been presented and seconded, I want to propose a question, and I propose that the motion on adoption of the report of PIPA Committee on the examination of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the financial year 2023-2024 is open for debate. Yes, Honorable Swaga, Kondelewad. Sorry, I'm sorry for that. Honorable Jackie Mukech. You need to make that name official one.
Thank you, my sister. The name is already official, so they should not interfere with you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we are looking at a very important report, and in many counties, the report on emergency fund is normally a very contested report. And just like Kisumu County, we are talking of an adverse opinion. So it shows that there is a lot of poor management of this fund. If you are very keen on what Honorable Were read here, you can see that as simple as just supporting documents are missing from what the Auditor General raised, and there are no invoices. So, Madam Speaker, I think these are serious issues. Again, Madam Speaker, I just wanted to join on what was raised by my brother, Honorable Rakwach, about whether we actually managing an emergency fund or it is an emergency fund being managed as a disaster fund. And I want to say that as a committee of budget, we are equally concerned how the emergency projects are funded. So I think the committee also need to get deep so that we know how they manage their cash flows. Are we having the money ready? Because if it is an emergency fund, then it requires that at any particular moment, we should always be having these monies ready for any activities that might arise. So I think the committee should interrogate further so that we know the cash flow management of this particular fund. So that are we really managing an emergency fund or we are managing a disaster fund? So that is a very pertinent issue that I think we should look deeply into. Madam Speaker, lastly, if you look at the graveness of issues raised here, I also have a feeling that there should be professional responsibility by the officers in charge, because we have right now an emergency office and we have officers who are responsible for managing of this fund. So if we are able to have a situation where we have spent more than what was approved, and two, of course, an emergency fund, they can spend and then the assembly approves. But we are talking of a situation where the assembly also did not approve the overspending or over expenditure of 20 million. So I think there is a lot of laxity in how this fund is managed. And I think this time around we need to crack the whip. We don't just need to write it on a report here that these officers' action should be taken. I believe that we should put the CC to task so that these officers face what we call professional responsibility. Otherwise, we are throwing away money. And these are very huge sums of money, some of them 105 million. We are talking about expenditure of 20 million. I think somebody should be held responsible, Madam Speaker. And therefore, those are tough recommendations that I feel the committee should, the committee for implementation should pick it from here so that we know the responsibility that they are taken. Many times we do pass these reports here, Madam Speaker, but nothing happens after we have validated these reports. And therefore, I think we should move forward and take action so that next time we don't have to report the same issue that we are reporting here of negligence, of no documentation. So, Madam Speaker, as I said, I want to support the committee for doing a good job. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Mumbo Wade, Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would wish to write on what my honorable member of Manyata has just, Kondele has just said. Madam Speaker, ever since I joined this house, we've been making...
Use your mic, Honorable Wade.
Ever since I joined this house, we've been making recommendations every time a report is read this house. But we have not, Madam Speaker, gotten the feedback as to these recommendations have been implemented or not. And I can see we will go back home, leave these recommendations without being implemented. About the staff, especially the finance department, it has been read over and over again that they have mismanaged, they have done this, but from the committee of implementation, they have not brought back the report here to say, you recommended that this officer or this department changes be made, and they have been made. It is high time, Madam Speaker, that we put the said committee to bring us the recommendations, the results of the recommendations that have been made in this house, so that we know that we are moving or not moving. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, we'll just be stagnant. If you hear a report from PICPAC every now and again, lack of qualified staff, 2023, 2024, 2025, lack of qualified staff. Why can they get the qualified staff Why can they tell us that we have fired the wrong ones? We have so that the next time you're getting a report, we get an improved report in terms of performance. Madam Speaker, much as I support the report, I think we should act on the implementation of this recommendation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, allow me to consider agenda now. Honorable Regina Kisito.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for considering gender. So, Madam Speaker, I want to say this in regards to the committee observations. Number one, that an amount of 11 million, in bracket 9 million for retention payables and 1 million for food and non-food trade payables was not supported with invoices, LPOs, notification of award, signed contracts, certificates of completion and inspection and acceptance certificates. So, Madam Speaker, my worry is how can this amount of money be paid without any supporting document? I think there's more than meets the eye here. And I want to agree with Honorable Lumumba Wade for what he has said, that the committee of implementation, right? The committee of implementation needs to do a lot. And as I was seated here with my colleague talking, Honorable Nyaoke, he's telling me that he's also part of that committee. So kindly, Honorable Nyaoke and your team, we need you to perform. If you people cannot perform, then it will force us, through Mr. Speaker and the majority leader, to do something concerning that committee. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Nyaoke.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to first thank the committee for the report that they have given before us. And Madam Speaker, I want to also agree with some of my colleagues who have just spoken to this particular report, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is important to go to the records that I am one of the members who come from disaster and emergency prone areas, one of it being North Nyakachu Ward. Madam Speaker, if anything, my ward should be a beneficiary of this fund that we are talking about. And Madam Speaker, if you look at the report, my colleague has just mentioned, even I would agree with the Honorable Lumumba Wade on what he actually picked up from the report. We are receiving quite a number of issues, particularly that goes the same direction. Madam Speaker, you look at this fund, which was about 105 million, which we appropriated from this house, Madam Speaker, and then when it comes to disaster, and it is important to say, like from yesterday or some few days ago, going forward, including this morning, Madam Speaker, I'm receiving quite a number of calls from my ward. People are already moving out of that area because of the flooding issue, Madam Speaker. And this is the time that we need this emergency fund as much as possible, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it pains me if we can appropriate like 105 million to support this cause, and then you find that part of this money, like about 11 million, buys something that is not even substantiated. There is no invoice, there is no record. Even you cannot find even what was bought and what was sold. You can't be able to identify from the report that we are given, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, going by the recommendations that have been given forth, I think one of the member of the assembly who was actually seconding the motion did mention something there which we should not take lightly, particularly the recommendation number 1, that the county executive committee member for finance, economic planning immediately takes disciplinary action against any officer or officers, including the fund administrator or accounting officer who authorized for or facilitated the over expenditure without lawful approval. Madam Speaker, it is not lost to our memory that the said chief executive officer is actually, this is the place where this fund is domiciled, that anybody spending this money must get direct authority from him. So I wonder whether he will take action against himself. But as had been mentioned by this House, Madam Speaker, and on behalf of the implementation committee, we will make sure that whoever will volunteer, even if it is himself going to volunteer to take action against himself, we will bring back that report here that action has been taken. Indeed, if it is not himself, then it is his prerogative to produce that person, because the relevant act, the PFM Act, must be followed to the letter, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, now the second recommendation that this assembly withholds approval of future budget allocations to the fund until adequate measures are put in place to ensure strict compliance with the PFM Act. Madam Speaker, that also is going to affect us. Now, for example, if the assembly now is going to hold this fund anymore going forward, Madam Speaker, which the implementation committee may consider making sure that it is done, then what is going to happen to our people, particularly now that they are suffering? Now houses are being knocked down, plants and crops that we planted the other day is being swept away by flood. And here is also another recommendation that because of the malpractice, the failure to run this fund properly is now going to force the assembly now even to hold any more fund that will be dedicated to these functions. Madam Speaker, what am I going to tell my people back? Because even right now they are calling, I don't know whether to spend my own salary, which cannot be enough to take care of these people, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is why I'm also very careful that the implementation committee, I'm sure, are going to take this matter so seriously, and as the deputy majority leader has mentioned, that we shall bring an appropriate and a well established report regarding the same. Madam Speaker, I beg to support. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Peter Obaso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to support the motion on the floor. Madam Speaker, let me start by commending the committee for the job that they have done. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I think over a period of time, we've been receiving reports from this committee feedback. And these reports are just the same. Non-supporting documents, non-adherence to financial regulations, and such. And as a county, if we keep going towards this trend, then I think we still have a long way to go as a county. And is upon those office bearers to own up to the variances that are being mentioned in these reports. And this committee should also step up and pull up their socks on their recommendations. We've not seen over time anyone who has been put to account to answer to these variances and the differences that we see in these finances. So it's upon the committee to pull up their socks there. And I also just want to urge the entire county and the institutions to try and follow the financial regulations that are put in place so that we don't lose funds that much. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I'm on the floor. Asante. Madam Speaker, a report is today presented before this House on financial statement of Kisumu County regarding emergency fund. And Madam Speaker, there's a trend of blaming the implementation committee.
Point of order, madam. Point of order, madam. Madam Speaker, I'm unable to hear what the mover is speaking, Madam Speaker, because he has put the glasses. The glasses is all over his mouth, so I'm unable to hear him, Madam Speaker. I know I also wear glasses, but I put to so, Madam, what? I'm having difficulty in hearing the mover, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, the glasses are not talking. It is my mouth that is talking. And Madam Speaker, I was advised, people who put glasses on their heads, that was the late Taita Towet, the intellectual. But you find any other Dick and Harry who wants to copy Taita Towet. I want to become a common man with my specs, Honorable Owade. So, Madam Speaker, what I'm saying, a report is presented before this House. And there's a trend in this House that when PICPAC presents a report, the implementation committee is being blamed for not taking action. And there's no clear action given to the implementation committee to take. Like when you look at the action that is being urged to be taken, it is not specific in this report, Madam Speaker. When you look at the conclusion of this report, the committee hereby requests that this House adopt this report of the Public Accounts and Investments Committee on the consideration of the Auditor General's report on the financial statements of Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. That is a conclusion. No specific instruction is given to the House to adopt. If the committee is unhappy with the report, they should tell the House, adopt this report so that action is taken and it is forwarded to Ethics and Anti-Corruption for further investigation. If you don't amend those ones, who will know that you want this report to be investigated further for action? No one will know. And when you blame the implementation committee and you are not specific, what is the implementation committee going to do? Nothing. And when Oiko says that the PICPAC is keen on sweeping recommendations given in the report, the chairman becomes annoyed. And when it is being said that other recommendations for actions had been given in this House, I'm telling you, my friends, nothing of the sort had been given. It's only one time that Honorable Owade tried. But you see, it was on the floor of the House, the debate was going on, and they wanted the report to be amended for further action, which you will find that ought to have been done much before the debate. And the office of the Speaker is noted. We have never done those. So the problem lies with us. When we want action to be taken against the department, let it be very specific from the report. And members are urged to adopt that specific recommendation from the report. If you don't do that, don't blame the implementation committee. I wanted to start from there, Madam Speaker.
Point of information, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Rakosh.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to inform the House that this is not the only report that PICPAC has brought to this assembly. I think like every week we are debating PICPAC reports, and the honorable members are always here. We have even a report which recommended further investigations by EACC. And we are yet to receive a report whether the action was taken, Honorable Speaker. So blaming the members of PICPAC, and then when a report comes to the Assembly, it is a report of the House, not a report of PICPAC, Honorable Speaker. So here, we can even decide to amend the report and pass that one, which has got specific action to be taken against an officer, Honorable Speaker. That is why that word amendment is there, Honorable Speaker. But if we have passed it in one accord, that it is a good one, let it be implemented, then we come back again and then start denying those reports that you PICPAC did what, there was no specific what. Honorable Speaker, I think we are lying to ourselves. Sometimes we just want to be seen that we are poking holes, Honorable Speaker. Let us be true to ourselves that we have passed several reports. I know members think that these reports are the same, simply because the queries are the same. And that one is not the problem, not the mistakes of the PICPAC. We scrutinize every case on its own account. If whoever steals a goat today is given 1 month imprisonment, then tomorrow if another one steals it, will still be 1 month imprisonment. You don't now change it because that one was given 1 month imprisonment. So that is the information that I wanted to give, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable
Honorable Oiko, I want to direct that any report which has been brought before this Honorable House, any member can propose amendment. And that's why the committee cannot forward it directly to the relevant department. So it belongs to the whole House. Thank you.
Honorable Madam Speaker, you have made a ruling and also talked. But the true position will come out, who is right. And Madam Speaker, and that what I've said will become an eye-opener to the House. Let's just do further consultation. What I've said will become an eye-opener to the House. Let us do further consultation. And if possible, those other reports Honorable Rakwach is referring to, he could say them. And we will find that Oeko is right. Madam Speaker, the report we are given is an adverse report. And the amount involved is about 105 million that was appropriated in the budget. And there is slightly over 20 million that has been overspent. And the essence of the adverse report is because of the poor financial records. Now one asks, if 105 million alone in the budget cannot be properly managed by the department, what about the bulk of the billions that they have? And we know the adverse reports that have been coming here from that department. Things are taken casually in that department. That is a picture that one would depict. They take things casually, Madam Speaker. And why is this happening? They take things casually in the department because they don't feel threatened. They don't feel it is an offense to manage the financial records in a very poor way. They do things for the sake of it because they know, after all, the record will come to the assembly and it will just be passed. And when you simply make a statement, when you simply make a statement in the report Disciplinary action should be taken against public officers who authorized or facilitated unlawful over expenditure or failed to provide required documentation during the time of audit. This is just a mere statement made. With the picture given in this report, this should have been the conclusion. Disciplinary action that should be taken, considering the further investigation that should be done. The seriousness would have been there. But when this kind of statement is made, merely the way it is made here, no one will take it seriously. And Madam Speaker, we know what is happening in this department. Most of the financial reports that come here are adverse, given very poor picture by the Office of the Auditor General, and there is no improvement. Why is this happening so? We know that we have the Minister for Finance, and when it comes to the office of the Chief Officer of Finance, there is no substantive chief officer. People who have been there on acting capacity. And this is also a matter that this House should address. Why can't the Kisumu County government employ someone on the 3-year contract? Someone vetted by this assembly and is there with the approval of the assembly. When you look at the history of that office, you will find that the assembly, most of the chief officers who are there, only one was vetted by this assembly, and he consequently passed away. Those who have been there are just on acting capacity. And
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Dede.
Under Standing Order 89.
Proceed.
The Honorable Member is talking of not having a substantive chief officer in the department. And in this House, we passed a chief officer called Jenga in this House. And if it's insinuating that we don't have a substantive chief officers in the department, even though there are others, but it should specify that at a particular time, we passed a chief officer in this House. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Honorable Oiko, can you explain further? Do you mean the officer is not competent or what?
Madam Speaker, he has helped me. The one that was vetted and approved by this House, Madam Speaker, is no longer in the office. And there's one who is acting. This good, he has helped me, and he has reinforced my argument. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the matter of emergency activities in Kisumu County are serious. And we should take this matter very seriously. Now, there are floods in the rural areas. And we are being told that the money for emergency is poorly spent. And we know what it is.
Honorable Oiko, your time is up. I'll add you 1 more minute to conclude.
Madam Speaker, people of Kisumu are suffering because of the floods. And the money that is supposed to help them is poorly spent. So we are wondering, when shall the people of Kisumu County get the value for this money? When will they get the value for this money? This House must take this matter seriously so that the department is taken to task. And I'm only afraid, Madam Speaker, to talk of the disaster management so that good precautionary measures are taken before the floods. I end there, Madam Speaker, but this report should not be forgotten. This report should be used to take the other department to task.
Yes, Honorable Okoyo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't know why I'm starting to have a feeling of stopping to support these good documents of PICPAC. I'm tempted not to be supporting these reports. Madam Speaker, PICPAC has been working tirelessly. PICPAC has been doing this from time we got into this honorable house. Madam Speaker, if my memory serves me well, then this is not the first report PICPAC is bringing to this house for this emergency fund. And if my memory serves me well, again, the reports, I think, look the same. And I don't know why the recommendations have not been seen or come to pass. Madam Speaker, I believe the House only delegate powers to the committees of the Honorable House. And if there is a committee which is not doing its job to its perfection, then, Madam Speaker, this House should come up with a recommendation on what to be done. Because, Madam Speaker, this is the role, one of the major roles we are supposed to do as an assembly or as MCAs. That is the oversight. Madam Speaker, it is true that the emergency or the disaster fund should be seen and should be also felt on the ground. And if indeed this fund does what is supposed to be done, then they should have the full documentations on what they did, how they did it, and we can be convinced that exactly what they are saying was done. It is all seasons, come in, come out, that we always face the disasters which this fund is supposed to help. But why don't we get the full documentations of how the money is spent? Madam Speaker, I start to believe that if over 100 million can not be explained how it was spent, then there must be something very big which we are yet to know from this department. Madam Speaker, allow me to agree with my colleagues that there must be somebody sleeping in the job. And if this is how we are going to table our reports and nothing happens, then, Madam Speaker, we are the ones who are going to be blamed. Madam Speaker, like I said, I start to feel like standing up and not supporting this document. It's not because it's not properly brought to the House, but because I feel by supporting this document has not helped us and still is not going to help us. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Ochele, can we read the word? Yes, can we read the word?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you once again for recognizing my word in the full strength. Is can also with the word. Madam Speaker, I rise to debate on the report on Pig Park tabled today. Madam Speaker, I want to start by saying that the committee has spent good time working on the document, doing wonderful observations, and making recommendations that they best understand. That's a great work, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we are talking about two funds. We are talking of disaster fund and emergency fund. And I want to just bring a distinction between the two. Disaster fund is managed under the Department of Administration and Public Service, headed today by Waziri Oremba. It is the one doing the silting everywhere. It is the one which is always running up and down when people are flooded, when there is fire anywhere, when there is accidents anywhere within the county. That is disaster fund, and it is meant for disaster mitigation, preparedness, and awareness, Madam Speaker. And to the best of my ability, I want to believe that it is a fund that is well utilized and its effect is felt across the county.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Oiko.
Madam Speaker, disaster fund is domiciled under public administration and public participatory. That's very right. That is disaster fund. Emergency Fund Act is domiciled under finance. So let Honorable Ochele differentiate the two properly. We are discussing a report that was domiciled under finance department.
Honorable, I think you're just eager to help me contribute, because I said I want to talk about two funds, and I started by fund number 1. I've not even proceeded to fund number 2. So hold your horse. When you were debating, I was quiet because you were speaking a lot of facts. Allow me also to spew some facts as I know them. Thank you, Mr. Oiko, Honorable Oiko, and Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Honorable Lumumba, are you on a point of order?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I'm on a point of information, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is very clear the mover of the report was moving the report of emergency, not disaster. And let Honorable Ochele concentrate on the emergency which was brought here as a report and not a disaster. We know they are very distinct. Today we are dealing with report for emergency. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
But
Leader majority, sometimes you amuse me. What is the hurry? Why are you in a hurry? We are here. Why are you rushing? Be patient, allow me to debate. Or I leave the microphone for you. Why do you want to intimidate me?
Honorable, proceed.
No, leadership.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. Point of order, Madam Speaker. The fact.
Yes, Honorable Nyauke.
Madam Speaker, no,
Honorable Ochele, give him
I'm
time.
on a point of order, Madam Speaker. The statement of fact here is that, as has been said, the fund that Honorable Ochele is trying to explain to us, there is no report to that effect on this in the floor. The report, you don't need even to explain yourself, Mr.
Order, Honorable Ochele, I'm about to rule. Just be patient. Wind up, Honorable Nyauke.
Madam Speaker, as I was saying before my senior rose up again, it is a fact that the motion before us is about the emergency fund, Madam Speaker. it is not proper to sneak in a motion about a fund which is not to the floor, Madam Speaker.
I rule out of order because that has been said by Deputy Majority Leader. Allow Honorable Ochele to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you are the best. Madam Speaker, you understand how the debate progresses. Madam Speaker, I said when I started, because when members were debating earlier, members were mixed up between disaster and emergency. And they were saying disaster, emergency, disaster, emergency. I'm just up to make a clarity. If making a clarity is haunting somebody, then I wonder why we are here, why we are called honorable members who are deemed to be debating. We must debate on points of facts. When members were debating, like my senior, my junior but senior, Honorable Koyo, the whole time he was talking about disaster. So I must bring a distinction between disaster and emergency. Then I put my facts on emergency. So unless some people don't want others to debate, then I'm sorry. And most of you, if you don't understand, don't display your ignorance. Relax and learn.
You are on point, Honorable Ochele. Proceed.
I was finalizing on disaster. That disaster is that which is doing desilting. Disaster is that we see always running when disaster happens. And the fund we are talking about today and now is emergency fund, which, as they rightly put, is domiciled in the Department of Finance. There are two different funds, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, truth be told, my experience in this country for the 3 years I've been here, my ward is prone to emergencies like when floods run across farms, when houses, structures are fell down by floods. That is emergency. And Madam Speaker, I want to be open. I've never felt effect of that fund, even a bit. Madam Speaker, in this house, there was a motion on an emergency in Honorable Nyaoge's ward. He can't mention that. He is keen on what Ochele is saying. But he should mention this. When a Dublin was burnt, what happened? We expected some of this money to be sent to rescue or to take part of the expenses there. Did they give even a single cent? And the member is here defending, not knowing that is a victim of mismanagement of that fund. Speaker, Dublin was an issue in this house. Not even a single cent was sent to a Dublin. Madam Speaker, we had an emergency. When our market was burnt down. Madam Speaker, members of this committee.
Okay, you are up again.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
On?
The speaker has just mentioned, it is just good to put some clarity about the Adu Blossom, which got burnt the other time. Madam Speaker, I did even bring a statement to this house asking and tasking the emergency department to come and assist, Madam Speaker. It must go on record that something came to this floor. I brought that statement to this floor. It was read, it was discussed, and it was requesting about the same. And what I'm confirming is that nothing ever took place from that department.
Your point is home. Your point is home. Allow him to proceed.
Madam Speaker, I thank you and I thank you. Okay, I think I'm waking you up. Now you're realizing that this fund has never helped you. Madam Speaker, a similar scenario happened in Nairo Ward. The whole market was burnt down. Committee on Trade and that of JLAC were tasked to do a pathfinding mission. We went there, we made our recommendations, and the report was passed here that the emergency fund should be given out to compensate the victims to a certain percentage and also to erect the burnt down structures. Not even a single cent was spent. Madam Speaker, I'm wondering, among the 35 wards, whose ward has felt the effect of this fund? And every financial year, this fund is placed in the budget. We budget for it, we appropriate it. In which ward does it work? But by the end of every financial year, it is said the money is all spent. What is it spent on? On what, Madam Speaker? So sometimes when we're discussing some of these reports, we should not play too much, we should not joke, we should be keen and do a reflection on your individual ward. What has this fund done? If not, don't support because you are supporting PPAC. Support the people who elected you first. before you support the committee. And Madam Speaker, I'm not here to support any committee if they are not doing a good job. My committee called PICPAC. I don't normally like debating their report because members feel bad. Like they feel bad with Oiko because Oiko is speaking the truth. Madam Speaker, the committee was trained. They were properly inducted. And I want to blame those who trained them or those who inducted them. That they must have given members of this committee a template on how reports are written. And they are stick to that template, not even mincing, adding another line, not changing the wording. If it is observation, you observe, leave it there. If it is recommendation, don't recommend anything to ACC, don't recommend anything to DCI, do a report as per the template. We are not educated to follow the syllabus to the last full stop. We are educated to follow the syllabus and do better on that syllabus, because syllabus is very narrow. Just like templates are very narrow documents. We can do better than that. I've been expecting, Madam Speaker, like I see in the National Parliament, like I see in the Senate, they do recommendations. And as a result of these recommendations from their parliaments, people are arrested. People go to court. EACC take them up. But you don't say that PICPAC has done their job. It is not the job of the implementation committee. What are they going to implement? If you said in that section, it is not conducted conclusively. Who do you want to conclude it, Madam Speaker? You can amend. How do I amend your work, which you know should have been doing? Madam Speaker, I therefore say to my brothers, let's walk out of the template. Let's be serious. And more so in this fund, it hurts all of us. If you don't see it, kindly members, open your eyes and see it. Let's drop this report, send it back to the committee, and allow them to do thorough work on the report and do a recommendation that is worth mentioning. There was somebody who was telling me outside here, through phone, that I know you are discussing emergency fund. And what I know, it is normal. The Assembly will obviously pass that report as it is. The moment you pass it as it is without recommendations, it will land. It will land to the same people who are squandering the money. Once it lands there, it is taken under the doors. How about if you recommend, take it to EACC? Then it will force the clerk to do a copy direct to the EACC, not to the executive. But we don't do that. Madam Speaker, I'm opposing that report, not in bad faith, but because I want to save the funds for the people of Kisumu County. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Pamela Ward of Mikosi Ward.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. When I look at the mood of the House, I see all members sitting down, and all members have ventilated on this report. And on that note, I want to call upon the mover to reply.
Honorable Were of Nyalendabi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank honorable members for having ventilated on this report. Madam Speaker, I want to take all the recommendations that have been made by my colleague. The positive recommendations, the negative one. And Madam Speaker, I believe that we have a collective responsibility as this honorable House. And Madam Speaker, whenever such report is brought to this honorable house, it becomes the agenda of this honorable house. It becomes a document of this honorable house. And any member is allowed to adjust or to amend. Madam Speaker, Honorable Basso did mention that we are bringing many reports with no action that is being taken. Madam Speaker, I want to say that our work is done according to the recommendations of the auditor, Office of the Auditor General. Whatever they flag, whatever they see, that is what we also do investigation on. And Madam Speaker, several honorable members have complained about same recommendation each and every time. Madam Speaker, we cannot talk on something that has not been pointed by the Office of Auditor General. Madam Speaker, the issues that they raise, those are the issues that we address. And Madam Speaker, if they continue raising about issue 1, 2, or 3, those are the issues that we will respond to. Madam Speaker, I want to appreciate the committee for the collective responsibility for having taken their time. Madam Speaker, I want also to appreciate the Office of Auditor General for having been partnering with the County Assembly of Kisumu in ensuring that the best come out of our departments, the best come out of the officers that we've been discharged with the mandate of helping our people. Madam Speaker, I'm not forgetting about appreciating this honorable house for having debated and having outlined all the concerns that we need to address as a committee. Madam Speaker, we shall try our level best to put forward all the recommendations that our people want us to discharge as part of our mandate. Madam Speaker, Honorable Oiko did talk about specific actions that the committee needs to address on particular matters on several reports that PICPAC normally brings in this round of house. Madam Speaker, if you look at this report, the committee has recommended that the officers that made sure that those mistakes were flagged, actions are supposed to be taken upon. Madam Speaker, we cannot limit ourselves to only action that we put forward. Whatever comes out of this house is law. We can put our foot as a house and ensure that the best come out of it. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Kode talk about so many reports that PICPAC brings in this house, and that there's no impact because the recommendations are the same. It is just the same issue that I responded to. We will only respond to what is has been pinpointed by the Office of Auditor General. If they say that this is right, it is right. If they say that it is wrong, that is what we will talk about, and that's what we'll make recommendations upon. Madam Speaker, I believe that this county belongs to all of us. We need to stamp our authority. We need to put our foot forward and ensure that the people that we've given the mandate to serve in different departments, they do the best according to what they are trained to do. They do the best according to all the regulations that we have. And it is upon this honorable house to ensure that does happen. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, I beg to reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the motion on adoption of the report of PICPAC committee on the examination of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the financial year 2023-2024 has been presented, seconded and debated. I want to put a question, and I put that as many as of the opinion that the motion on adoption of the report of PPAC committee on the examination of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statement of the Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the financial year 2023-2024 as presented and deliberated upon be adopted, say aye. As many as with the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. And the motion on adoption of the report of PPAC committee on the examination of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the financial year 2023-2024 has been adopted today, Tuesday, 13th May 2025 at 16:04 hours. And I want to direct that the recommendation of this report and that of the House debates be forwarded to the relevant department for action and implementation committee to follow up for the implementation of the same. Next order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The business is fully executed.
Be upstanding. Honorable members, there is no any other business before this honorable house. Therefore, the house stand adjourned till tomorrow, Wednesday, 14th May 2025 at 9:00 hours.